This is the Royal LePage Vision Annual Awards coming to you live from Toronto. So we're going to hear from our broker of record first.
Hello everyone and welcome to Royal LePage Vision's 2021 award ceremony. Before we get started, I would like to take this moment to congratulate every one of you. We all had an extremely tough year, and your dedication to your industry, clients, and brokerage has been outstanding, and your efforts do not go unnoticed. We hope you enjoy this presentation, and we cannot wait to do the next one in person. I would now like to ask Phil Soper, the industry leader and president of Royal LePage Canada, to share market forecast with us.
Perfect. Well, welcome everybody. It's great to see you all, albeit virtually. And let me start right off the bat by congratulating you on an amazing year in difficult times. It has been a strange 3 calendar years, isn't it? It's hard to believe we started this back in 2020, and the COVID catalyst that has been powering our industry continues to churn along. If some of you caught our forecast that we released 3 or 4 weeks ago now, you will have noticed that we expect this very strong market to continue right through the spring market of 2022, which will make it one of the biggest expansions in Canadian real estate history. I am going to share my screen and go through just a few things with you about the market, the Canadian economy, and Royal LePage in general, some focus on some things we're doing that should be able to help you in your practice. And we'll have the whole thing over in, 15, 20 minutes. So nice, short, but sweet presentation. There we go. Okay, and can I get a thumbs up if people can see my screen? Justin, you want to give me an okay?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. It's call it Zoom etiquette, right there, because you never get any feedback. So you need a team. Yeah. So here we are, in it to win it in 2022. And off we go. So Canada again was ranked the best country globally in the Wharton Business School U.S. News and World Report, and in a study by The Economist out of the UK. So #1 overall, #1 in quality of life, #1 in a number of the aspects that make up modern life. If you dive into it and look at why Canada does so well on the global stage, you see that we have an excellent reputation for competentness, openness, friendliness, and other qualities like tolerance. And I'll talk about that in a second. We are considered a model for integrating new Canadians into existing Canadian society. So our immigration policies, our ability to attract foreign capital and highly skilled people from around the world is second to none on the planet. And as much as we like to criticize our governments, be they municipal, provincial, or federal, Canada is viewed by the world as having fair governance, fair government, fair aspect for people to share their views and express how they'd like to live their lives. Now, herein, some of you may have caught an interview that I did with Toronto Star last week, and it focused on the what we've called the trucker protests, which are, of course, a lot more than just trucker protests. And the theme of the article was these protests have received attention from around the world. I subscribe to the Washington Post and the New York Times, and every day there was an article about the Canadian protests in these global newspapers, and it hasn't done anything to help Canada's reputation. So the ask of the journalists was, is this going to hurt the Canadian economy? Is this going to hurt the Canadian housing market? And I said, no, not unless it grows, if it's a seed of something different. And my thinking goes something like this. Around the world, people have issues. We're a much safer country than the United States, but we've had our tragedies, our shootings, our murders. It's not like we're immune to the ills of the planet. We just manage it better, and we are able to get through it in a way that's quite unlike some other countries. And I think as people view the end of these protests, what they will indicate is that we dealt with it in a very Canadian manner. Excuse me. We had the protests, they came, they quietly disbanded. Yes, some people were arrested, but there was no violence. What could change this in the future, of course, is if the American style politics of division, of extreme views based on partisan position, for example, was to penetrate our society. At this stage, I don't see that. I don't see the risk that Trumpism becomes a large thing in Canadian society. So, I'll leave it at that. I'd be curious to your opinions as to how Canada dealt with this crisis, whether it's a wider thing or whether it's just a niche issue. As we look at the economy, interest rates have been very, very supportive of the real estate market, and they remain very, very low and will remain low through the spring market. We may see an increase off essentially zero. We're at 0.25, a quarter of 1%. We may see an increase right at the end of March when the Bank of Canada releases its next update to its policy on rates. But even then, it would be moving from something close to zero to still extremely low. So monetary policy has been very, very, very supportive. And that's helped Canada's largest real estate company become bigger and even more powerful. We're approaching 20,000 people in 2021. We grew by a net of those retiring, leaving the industry, et cetera, 1,100 people, which is extremely strong growth. And I wanted to thank all of you for the contributions that you've made towards that growth, because good people want to work with good people. People want to be on a winning team. People want to be in a brokerage that pays attention to them, that's forward thinking, that is on top of technological trends, that speaks for Canadian real estate. And you have helped us do all of that, and we've seen this tremendous growth as a result. In fact, if you look at all the transactions that were written in 2021, in a full 1/3 of those, there was a role of LePager involved on either one side or both sides of the transactions. That's over $100 billion worth of property sold last year alone. So, when you go home tonight, you can tell your wife or husband or kids that you're a big deal because you're part of a real big deal. We are, of course, a Brookfield company. Brookfield is the largest and most impactful real estate company in the world. It is one of the largest companies of its kind on the planet. Some of you will have heard of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. If you look at the assets under management at Brookfield, $750 billion, and compare that to Berkshire Hathaway, it puts things into perspective. You are part of an amazing Canadian success story. And as a result, we are able to attract people from around the world to be part of our international referral network. When a brokerage in Singapore or Barbados or the United States wants to refer someone to Canada, they don't know very many real estate companies in Canada, but the one they know is Canada's real estate company, LePage, and they're all dying to work with us. So we're very lucky in that we have the pick of brokerages from around the world, including some that are fly other banners that exist in Canada, but they still want to work with the best Canadian real estate companies. So that represents 72,000 salespeople around the world, over 2,400 real estate offices. We have a relocations coordinator you can work with should you need to either refer someone abroad or if we need your help in consummating the sale. Of course, as important as this all is, international transfers, international purchases of property have been pretty slim over the last few years, which really gives us the idea of just the strength of our domestic real estate market. It's tremendously strong, and it will remain so. We are the voice of Canadian real estate. Year after year, the work that we put into research and studies, understanding how Canadian real estate works, results in us getting the lion's share of earned media. So what's earned media? Earned media is through a trusted source where they come to us to comment or they publish the results of our studies, and it's not paid for. There's an old adage in business, advertising is what you pay for, public relations is what you pray for. And it's because people believe what they hear through a trusted source. When they see an ad, they say to themselves, someone paid for that. Now, that doesn't mean we don't do advertising. And some of you will have seen the new LePage campaign that's widely out, especially through social channels, called The Right Swipe. And management can get you a copy of that if you haven't seen it, include on your website. It's very contemporary. It plays off the theme of Tinder for those young folks out there that are single. When you swipe right on that dating app, Tinder, it means you like someone. Well, it's a play on that, but it's about you finding the right real estate agent, the LePage real estate agent. So what is driving Canadian home price appreciation? I thought I'd walk you through a little building block. It's something of a concise explanation that you can take to your clients or maybe your friends and family or just people who are always asking you, what's going on in this market? How could prices always go up? Well, the first thing, and the one that's finally getting the press it deserves, is this chronic lack of supply. And I'm going to talk about that again in just a minute, but we don't have enough homes, enough roofs over our heads. Then there's demographic demand. If you look at our population, it's like a two-humped camel. We have two huge population demographics. We have the baby boomers, and then a dip for generation, and we have the millennials. The millennials are first and second time home buyers. The baby boomers are predominantly our luxury home buyers, and they represent the two largest generations existing in Canada today, driving the economy today. And they're both at a period in their lives where they're trading a lot in real estate. And I'll talk about that in a second. So that demographic demand is driving it. Then there is the pandemic related shift. This is the hyper focus on the importance of our homes in our lives, as our homes become not just a place we sleep, but there are center for entertainment, our restaurants, our gyms, there are kids' classrooms, and for many people, it's where they work. And then there's this desire to own a home. Canada has among the highest home ownership rate in the world. And I think when the dust settles, we'll see that during the pandemic, a large number of young people got into home ownership, raising the home ownership rate perhaps even as high as 70%, which has never been quite that high before. So home ownership is something that Canadians really, really desire. And if you look at supply, demographic demand, pandemic-related impacts, and desire, it's a lot of pressure upwards on home prices. So if you look at our housing situation, the first thing you notice is that we haven't been building enough homes relative to household formation for many, many years. So what is household formation? Let me just pause there for a second. Well, part of it is related to immigration. And that's often what people think about. But part of it is related to that demographics thing. Take my family. I've got a big family. We have 4 kids. The last one just left home, just finished school, university, and is off on her own. So we were one household of 6. We're now 5 households, as those 4 kids have spread, 2 of them outside of Toronto, 2 of them in Toronto. Everybody needs to put a roof over the head. So when you get a large population cohort rolling through society, it creates more organic household formation. And at the other end, baby boomers are staying in their homes longer, as are their parents, and they're healthier, they're living longer, and they're staying in their houses. So there isn't this automatic availability of housing at the older age as we stretch the number of years in which people will live in their own homes. So there's been a tremendous amount of household formation in Canada over the last 10, 15 years, and we just haven't kept up in building. In fact, if you look at Canada and compare us to the rest of the world, we are of advanced nations like G7 or the OECD countries. We are in last place in homes per capita. Part of that is because our population is growing faster. So if you're in a country like Japan or Italy, number of the European countries, their population is basically flat or maybe even shrinking a little in cases like Italy and Japan. So they don't need to build homes as quickly as we do, but we haven't kept up. And as a result, we have a shortage of some 1.8 million homes in Canada right now, which is why there's been this focus by governments and the release of our current government in Ontario of a plan to address this critical housing shortage. It's not a demand issue. And in the past, governments have tried to help keep prices down by artificially quelling demand. But that's a fool's game in real estate. It'd be one thing if everybody was rich and had 3 homes in the GTA, which they bounced around to, but that's not the way it works. People have a home in the GTA and they need to put a roof over their head. So artificially keeping them down doesn't change their need for shelter, their need for housing. So we do need a plan to move forward. And I'm impressed with the results of an independent study that was done and released 55 recommendations that aims to build double the number of homes annually in the or in Ontario, but predominantly in the GTA, and keep that up for a decade. And that will definitely start to ease this incredible upward pressure on house prices. So one thing I like to share with people is that the math says homeownership works. There's one really simple way to look at it. When you're renting, you have to pay for the profit of a business, be it a small business, say an individual owning a home and becoming a landlord, or a large business that owns many homes or an apartment building. But you have to pay for their profit, and that has to be factored into your monthly payments. When you own your own home, there's a clear financial advantage. You'll find this study on LePage, reports and surveys. So go to LePage.ca. In the media room, you can either type it right into Google or right on the homepage. You'll see the media room button and look for the homeownership advantage study, and you'll see the math behind how homeownership is better financially than renting. And this is a powerful, easily understood bit of research that essentially puts into a study what we all know. Owning your own home results in substantial financial benefits through your life. So it's one thing that we have all this demand, that we have the demographics that are causing people to want to get into housing. That's all desire, need, demand. But there also has to be capacity. People have to have jobs, and we've gotten employment now back above the level it was pre-pandemic. So the economy is that strong right now. And they have to be able to save. Well, one thing about the pandemic is it's turned Canadians into super savers. They are saving money like they never have before. It peaked at 28% of the money people were earning last year. 28% of it was going into savings. Typically, it's 2 or 3%. So we save a tiny little bit of our incomes typically. But because we're not traveling, we're not going to restaurants, we're not going to movies or concerts or hockey games, because of all those activities that have been curtailed, our savings have just grown significantly. And LePage research shows that a tremendous amount of those savings have been reallocated into real property, be it renovations in existing homes or rent or purchasing of new homes. So real estate has been the beneficiary of Canadians' recent trend to become super savers. And as I said, if you look at employment levels, we're actually now above pre-pandemic levels. We're also growing as a population. We crossed over the 38 million mark. We're closing in on 40 million. One of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing advanced nation on earth. We sometimes vie for that title with Australia. And it's resulted in tremendous demand for what you and I do. And that's provide shelter, because all this growing organic population and our success with immigration has driven a lot of need. One other thing I thought I'd point out, we're entering a period of unprecedented wealth transfer. So the parents of the boomers and the boomers themselves are beginning to either pass away in the case of the parents of the boomers, or when the boomers transfer wealth to the downstream generations, to Generation X. So what we have is up to $1 trillion being transferred from future generations down to current generations. So let's talk about those generations. If we look at millennials, let's just say millennials are all lined up and focused on real estate. Boomers, our second largest cohort after the millennials, feel very lucky when it comes to real estate. 2/3 of them are mortgage free. 40% of them have most of their net worth in real estate. And 25% of them, this gets to that $1 trillion of wealth transfer, are going to help a child own their own home, which is pretty amazing. As we look at immigration itself, you can see everybody in Canada has read the news reports. We are expecting record levels of immigration. The challenge in advanced economies around the world is as more and more women are fully participating in the workforce, as more and more women are fully participating in advanced education, getting university degrees, they're having fewer kids. So where they might have had 3 children before, perhaps they're only having 1 child now. And you need, just mathematically, 2.1 kids per woman to have a flat population, where your population doesn't change. If you look at Canada, we don't do badly for a advanced economy. We're at about 1.7 or 1.8. But if you look at countries like Japan or Italy that I mentioned, they're closer to 1. So their population is falling rapidly. This is why it's so important for our economy in the future of the services we provide as a nation to invite the best and the brightest from around the world to come to Canada. And make no mistake, it is a competitive market. It's just like recruiting someone to your brokerage guys or to your team. If you're running a real estate team, you're out there on the global stage saying, come to our country. We offer the best life for you and your family, the best place to run a business or start a career. And it is very competitive, and we're winning in that area. And we hope to attract over 400,000 new Canadians a year into the future. There's also the case of international students. We are number 3 in the world at inviting people from around the world to study in Canada. Very important for our great institutions, by the way. I sit on the board at Ryerson University, and international students are really important to help pay for our universities because they pay considerably more than domestic kids. You might ask, why is that fair? Well, if you're a domestic child, because our institutions are public, unlike the great universities in the United States, which are private, our public universities are paid for by your and my taxes during our whole lives. And when our kids come of age that they can take advantage of them, we have been paying forward for the ability for them to go to those schools. So when someone comes from abroad, of course, they're going to pay 2, 3, 4 times more in tuition fees. They also need housing, and there's close to 1 million of them. Of course, they've been missing during the pandemic, but they're back. And as a result, that has brought back investor demand. The other thing that's back is people in travel, tourism, food and beverage, entertainment. As those industries spool up, people are leaving their parents' homes, their friends' couches, and they're going back and they're renting a place, their own place to live, which are encourage investors back. In fact, in the GTA, as we look to 2022 and 2023, we believe that the condominium class of properties will outperform detached homes for the first time in a number of years, certainly for the first time since the pandemic started. as this investor demand picks up, and the gap between the price of detached homes and the price of condominiums has really grown over the last 3 years, making condominiums a great bargain relative to other property classes. Royal LePage Commercial has got more advisors now than any other brokerage brand in Canada. We're having a conference this afternoon for Royal LePage Commercial, the Royal LePage Commercial brokers across the country. And if you look at the growth of this business, it has been growing more quickly than other major brands like CBRE or Cushman. And one of the major reasons, in addition to having the kinds of services and data analytics tools that you need to succeed in commercial brokerage, is because we have coverage everywhere, in secondary markets and tertiary markets, not just in the biggest cities like our major competitors. To wrap up, just to focus on some of the major technologies and services, RLP Sphere was launched during the pandemic. Some people call it the perfect platform for a pandemic time because it is cloud-based, it is artificial intelligence or AI driven, and it is helping Canadian realtors manage their funnel of potential clients and existing clients throughout the life cycle of our sales process. If you look at its success during the pandemic, 165,000 leads, 650,000 listing views, and 14 million client contacts have been driven through RLP Sphere. That last number is just mind-boggling to me. More and more people are feeling comfortable using the autopilot features of RLP Sphere, which allows the AI to determine when the best time is to reach out and contact a client, to manage phone calls, texting, emails, so that you don't spam your clients, but you're there and responsive when they need you. So the system is just growing every day. We continue to develop it, and it's the only platform that was developed in Canada for Canadian realtors. And of course, there's RoyalLePage.ca. It's Canada's #1 real estate company website. It's well ahead, double RE/MAX's website, over 100 million visitors last year, and it drove over 300,000 leads to Royal LePagers from coast to coast. And launching this spring in the March-April timeframe will be the country's first AVM, or automated valuation model tool. What this is intended to do is mimic what Royal LePage has been able to do with that 100 million visits. Most of those people are coming to look for homes, right? They're buyers looking to purchase a home. What the AVM, or the automated valuation method tool, is doing is to try to bring listing people who want to sell their homes. So using our technology, our proprietary technology, we will be able to provide consumers with an estimate of value on their home, whether it's for sale or not, and a way to get in touch with you. So that's the key. We want to bring potential sellers together using technology. All right, last thing, a big reminder, with the pandemic becoming endemic, which just means it's like the common flu or cold or whatever, we're living with it with vaccines and appropriate safety measures should there be an outbreak. We're going back to normality, and we'll full speed ahead for the national conference in Winnipeg in September. So please put it in your calendar, September 13th to 15th. Really look forward to seeing you there. And with that, in all the excitement, I will turn things back over to our hosts.
Thank you so very much, Phil. That was a great presentation. Thank you so much. Full of information. The the first award category for this afternoon is for the top producing Royal LePage Vision Realtor in their first year of real estate. We call it the Royal LePage Vision Rookie of the Year, and the recipient of this award is Irfan Zia. Our next award category is a very new category. It's called the Social Media Award, the Royal LePage Vision Social Media Award, and it recognizes the Royal LePage Vision Realtor with the most social media presence. Well, it's a very close race this year, so we couldn't just decide on one. We decided on two award recipients. So the first recipient of this award is Ricky Loughton. The second award recipient is Rizwan Piprawala. Our next category today is the Royal LePage Vision Production Award, which recognizes the realtors that gross an annual commission of $50,000 to $84,999. And the first recipient of this award is Syed Abidi. The next recipient of this award is Abbas Alvi. The next award recipient is Sohail Anwar. The next award recipient is Sam Katoch. The next award recipient is Steve Nolis. The next award recipient is Dinesh Patel. The next reward recipient in this category is Suresh Salathurai. So the next category for this afternoon is the top 3 Royal LePage Vision Realtors in the commercial real estate market. So this is recognizing those who have done very well in the commercial real estate market. And the number 3 agent is Faranaz Abdullahi. The number 2 in this category is Raza Naki. And the number 1 in this category is Andrew Pateris. Now, the next award category is the Royal LePage Sales Achievement Award, which recognizes the agents that gross an annual commission of $85,000 to $99,999. And the first recipient of this award is Crystal Ferrari. The next award recipient is Patricia Francis. And the last one in this category who won is Donald Whitaker. Our next category for this afternoon is the Royal LePage Master Sales Award, which recognizes realtors who gross an annual commission of $100,000 to $134,999. And the first recipient of this award is Ali Chima. The next award recipient is Wazir Dahar. The next award recipient is Michael Isaacs. The next award recipient is Kristen Jagdio. The next award recipient is Rahim Lakhani. The next award recipient is Nadia Merchant Lakhani. The next award recipient is Prakash Pathmanathan. The next award recipient is Ramesh Rajalingam. The next award recipient is Jaz Sidhu. Next award recipient is AJ Varghese. The next award category for this afternoon is the Royal LePage President's Gold Award, which recognizes the realtors that gross an annual commission of $135,000 to $259,999. And the first recipient of this award is Agnello Almeida. The next award recipient is Andrea Davidson. The next award recipient in this category is Kieran Dillon. The next award recipient is Denzel Fernandez. The next award recipient is Adnan Kazmi. The next award recipient is Ricky Loughton. The next award recipient is Max Makla. The next award recipient is Mahmoud Nakvi. The next award recipient is Andrew Pateris. The next award recipient is Kobe Philip Joseph. The next award recipient is Sohel Rahman. And rounding this out is Zishan Rizvi. The next award for this afternoon is the Royal LePage Directors Platinum Award, and this recognizes realtors who gross an annual commission of $260,000 to $499,999. And the first recipient of this award is George Cazares. The next award recipient of this award is Amrili Mavani. The next award recipient is Akbar Mubarak. The next award recipient is Raza Naki. The next award recipient is Amar Tamber. This now brings us to the most prestigious award of this afternoon, and it is the Royal LePage Red Diamond Award, which recognizes the realtors that earn a gross annual commission of $500,000 plus. And the first award recipient of this prestigious award is Alex Nolis. And the next award recipient of this prestigious award is Amir Baksaria. Congratulations to everyone. So just so you know, all of your awards photos are already up on social media, so you can share them through our Facebook page, which is facebook.com Royal LePage Vision, or through Instagram at Royal LePage Vision. Go there right after the end of this event and start sharing out with your clients. Use all of our resources to get more and more focus, and maybe next year you'll be the winner of the social media award. Before we conclude today, we're going to ask Asger to have his parting thoughts.
I sincerely wish all the best for all the award recipients. Let's make this year a year to remember, and I hope we can celebrate in person this year. I would also like to give a big thank to our admin team to be always there to help us achieving our goals. Thank you, everybody, and let's have a good time.
Thank you guys, and see you soon. Take care.